So earlier today on the channel, I posted my hitting tips video that I post every single year. I went a little bit more in depth on it this year. So if you're wondering what I do as far as hitting and you're looking for some tips, make sure to go check out the video I posted earlier today. But I did also want to do a video going over all of my different settings and all the little, small things I change every year just to get the game running the way I like to play it. As I said in the hitting tips video as well, these are just my personal settings. Just because I use one thing, it might not be the thing that you prefer. So this is just what I'm comfortable with. If you guys decide to try out any of these settings, feel free to tweak it and play around with it to find what you like the best. If you enjoy this video and you find it helpful at all, feel free to hit the thumbs up button down underneath. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the other tips videos as well as the gameplays and everything else we have coming out MLB 20 related. But anyway, let's jump into the settings. All right, so I'm over here in custom practice. I'm going to go ahead and go into options and I'm going to show you guys what settings I currently have on. I'm not going to spend too much time on the hitting side of things just because I already pretty much went fully in depth on this stuff in the hitting tips video. Once again, make sure to go check that out. That's probably the most detailed hitting tips I've done. But just a little crash course on it. I like to use the strike zone hitting camera. I prefer to be as close as possible to the strike zone. It's the best way to recognize pitches and recognize balls and strikes, and it's a good way to improve your discipline. For the in-play view, I like to use medium. I feel like it gives me a good view of the field while also giving me a very smooth gameplay experience. Some people like to use high because it gives them an overall view of the field versus something like dynamic, which kind of moves with the ball. I prefer medium. I think it's cool. I can still control my base runners really well, so that's what I like. Of course, hitting interface, I'm using zone. My PCI, once again, this was all in the hitting tips video, so I'm not really going to go too far in depth here, but I like having my PCI fade out on the outside and keep those perfect dots right in the middle. That's probably my favorite thing about the custom PCI is the fact that you can fade things out. Okay, so now jumping into the pitching side of things, the pitching interface I prefer to use is pure analog. I think it's similar to how I had zone hitting. Whatever gives you the most total control of your pitches is the input that I think you should be using because it gives you the best opportunity to recognize what the mistakes you're making are, and then once you can recognize those mistakes, you can work to fix those mistakes in order to actually get better at the game. So I use pure analog pitching. In case you don't know what pure analog looks like, you go ahead and choose a pitch just like every other pitching interface. So I'll choose a fastball and you see the meter up at the top right here, and when you move the ball, the little loop up at the top moves with it. So I'm going to move it to the bottom left right here. I'm going to pull down the right stick and then try to hit that spot on the outside corner. You can see if I miss a pitch, let's say I have a fastball high and in and I end up throwing it this way a little bit, it goes to the outside part of the plate, and the higher the control of the pitcher has, the more accurate your pitching can be, the easier it is to hit that loop. But once again, with that, it lets me get the most total control and it lets me understand really what I'm doing wrong when it comes to pitching, so I know what I need to change going forward. Pitch feedback does not matter at all. Pitching view, I like to use pitcher offset. Some people like to pitch from behind the catcher. I prefer to pitch from behind the mound. I do like having that presentation experience because I kind of take that away by using strike zone hitting. So I do kind of like having pitcher offset as the camera that I use, but I don't think pitcher offset necessarily is the end all be all camera. That one's mainly more personal preference. There's some other ones you can mess around with. I mean, like we said, the pitcher offset, outfield broadcast, you can have all these. You can have pitchers from the different sides and everything. So really, it's all up to you on that. I just prefer pitcher offset. That's my favorite one out of all of them. For the pitching ball marker, I like to keep pitch trail on, and basically what that means is, let's say I choose a fastball right here, and you can see the little red trail going to where the ball is going to end up, assuming I hit my spot in the right location. You can have that to fade. You can have it to a couple different things. I like to keep it on because it tells me exactly where I need to go, and I can kind of play around with my timing and still not miss out on where I have the ball going. So I definitely like to have pitch trail on for the entire time versus fade or something else. And then pitch confidence, pitch delay, API, none of that really matters over there in pitching. As far as the next thing, we've got fielding. So this one is actually pretty important because defense got got a huge amount of changes. Defense almost got pretty much overhauled this year overall. So for the throwing interface, please, please, please use button accuracy. Do not use buttons. Don't use anything other than button accuracy. Pure analog, don't do it. Please don't. It just hurts my soul if I see somebody use pure analog. Button accuracy is what you need to have on, because basically, if you just use buttons, you're letting the computer dictate if you're gonna make the throw to the base or not, or if you're gonna, you know, make a good throw or whatever, because the computer, if you just have buttons on, will take the attributes of the player, the attributes of the guy he's throwing to, the speed, whatever, all the different scenarios. It's gonna put it into an RNG, and then maybe you make the throw, maybe you don't. If you have button accuracy on, you're gonna get the meter above the player that has the ball when they're throwing, and you can hit it in the green to guarantee yourself a good throw every single time. If you're not using button accuracy, you are letting the computer have way too much control of the game, and you gotta turn it on, man. I know the throwing meter is a little bit tougher this year. They've made defense a little bit more challenging, which I think is great, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get better if you use the throwing meter, and it just, in my opinion, it makes the game more fun. You know, you're not just lazily throwing the ball over to first base the entire time. Fielding decision is going to be assist. Throwing decision is off. You're gonna want to make sure it's off so you can make all your throws. You don't want the CPU doing that for you. In play view defense, I have the same thing. I have medium. Medium is just my favorite, you know, in play view overall, but you can use whatever you want, really. It's just the one that I prefer. Throw canceling, technically I'm supposed to have this on, but for some reason I had it off. Basically, with throw canceling, it works a little bit differently this year. So throw canceling means, let's say you field a ground ball, you're the shortstop, and you're gonna throw it to second base to try to start a double play. But by the time you field it, maybe the runner was in motion, you realize that you actually can't get the out over at second base, so you want to cancel your throw by just pressing a different base, and then you can throw to first base and basically just cancel the second base throw. It works a little bit differently this year. You can still throw cancel, but basically whatever the first input you put in for that specific base is what the throw is going to be. So basically, in the past, if you threw to first base and you had a yellow throw, before you let go of the ball, you could throw cancel and basically restart the meter to make sure you get a green throw. If you throw to first base and you get a yellow throw, you can throw cancel to like second base or something, but if you go back to first, you're still going to get that yellow input. So the button meter is really big this year. One button, dive, jump, all of this stuff really doesn't matter at all. Defensive shift, depending if you're really strategic or not, feel free to turn shifts on or off. There is a little like quick menu for shifts and stuff in there too, but overall, the shifts, I don't really care that much. I'm not Quash Tag. And then the off-the-wall ribbon is a huge feature they added actually in MLB 19, which I think is one of the best features they had in the entire game. So make sure to keep that on. That's basically when a ball is hit off the wall, you can see where it's going to bounce in the field. It's a really helpful feature. Then over here in general, strike zone, obviously I have strike zone on. You can turn it off if you don't like it, but hot zones, I have pitching preview. So basically the hot zones are there for the first pitch of the at-bat, and then for the next pitches, they go away. Warm-up relievers, I have this off just so I can save some time, because, you know, you bring in a reliever sometimes in a play versus CPU game or whatever, and then you have them throw 8 pitches to get fully warm. I just take that off. They come into the game fully warm. It just saves you some time. And that's pretty much what I have as far as the in-game settings, but there's still a couple things I should show you guys over in the main menu side of things. So if you go over here to user settings and you go over to presentation options, one thing that I like to turn off is the pre-pitch cameras. I think the pre-pitch cameras are like a cool addition, but honestly, they're a little bit distracting to me, and basically what those are is when the pitches kind of show up at the bottom of the screen before the pitch is thrown, and, you know, the camera's kind of moving around the field and stuff like that before you throw a pitch. I don't like that. Kind of messes with my flow, so I decided to go ahead and turn those off. Batter walk up, sometimes I turn it off just if I'm getting tired of seeing all the batters walk up and I want to get through the next thing quicker, but it's really nothing serious. And as far as my audio video settings, I use the balanced game resolution. You really don't want to use sharper unless you have a TV that you absolutely know can handle that, or the HDR mode or whatever. So make sure you're playing on one of these right settings so that way you get the best possible optimization out of the game, so you're always making sure that the game runs as smooth as possible. But as far as that, that's pretty much everything everything I've got right here, this is all like road to the show / franchise specific type things. But yeah, that's pretty much the main settings I want to use for MLB The Show 20. It's mainly the same stuff I use for MLB 19. I have a lot of success with it, and really don't fix what isn't broken. If it worked for me, it worked for me. I'm sure there's little tweaks I can make here or there throughout the year as the game goes by and we discover new things about the meta that might help it a little bit more. But pretty much, I'm set in my ways and these are my settings. So that's what I have for you guys. Hopefully this video helped you. Remember to go check out the hitting tips video I did post earlier today for the full hitting breakdown. I'm probably not going to do a pitching tips video just because I simply just suck at pitching. I'm not good at pitching in the show. I kind of just get lucky when I throw the ball. And this year with Perfect, I don't think there's going to be a lot of pitching strategy. I think you just kind of got to close your eyes and throw and hope that the guy doesn't square it up. But yeah, down in the comments, let me know if you have any more questions. Let me know if you need me to clear anything up for you. I can maybe come down there and, you know, clear some things up. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to drop a thumbs up if you found this helpful at all. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep updated with all the MLB The Show videos coming out. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.